me, no matter where I go, no matter where I be. We'll be rocking it like that, man. I love the fit of this shirt, bro.
Bro, look, I just have to get off the elevator. Look at it. The BMT shirt on. You know, we representing all the way in Thailand, man.
What's up, y'all? It's the Travel OG, and I got to do my BMT commercial, man, for my BMT shirt, man. This shirt is so dope, man. It shows off your guns, fits your muscles, gives you room at the bottom for the belly, and then you're repping the BMT brand, man. So make sure y'all pick up that BMT shirt because it's fire. It looks good. He got them in different colors, and I'm telling y'all, man, the fit, it ain't that cheap. It's a real quality shirt, man. I love it, BMT. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for blessing me with the shirt. And I'll see you on the other side. You dig?
Fellas, don't forget to check out the Black Man Travels merch store where you can purchase BMT t-shirts, tank tops, travel quote tees, and much more. All right, and we are live. Welcome, family, to another show. It is your man BMT. I know it's probably Saturday evening where you guys are at. It's Sunday morning here in Thailand. We have a lot of news update for you guys. I woke up to a lot of messages, guys, trying to cancel their trips or asking me, hey, should they still come? Because of these new entry requirements. All right. So I'm going to explain it to you because, you know, the news kind of was somewhat finalized this morning here, moving forward to the end of the month, what's going to be required for you guys to enter Thailand. I'm also going to break down the article about Colombia that I just was recently written about not too long ago. I'm gonna break that article down as well. So I want to welcome you guys to the show. We got Lando early on in the building. Shout out to you, bro. The first in the chat. We got 40. Guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button when you enter the room. All right. So let's go ahead and get right to it. You know, I know you guys want to know because like I said before, I was getting a lot of messages. Guys was, a little weary of, Thailand being kind of quick about new entry, requirements coming in. I know a lot of guys thought that some of the issues with the beer bug was over with, but it seems like it's starting to pop its little head back up. All right. And I think people thought, we was done with it. And now all of a sudden they're getting hit with news saying that they have to be vaccinated before they enter Thailand. And it's not, before we get into the article, it's not as stringent as it was previously. So that's one good thing about it. All right. When I first arrived in Thailand, you had to do all types of, the Thai pass. You had to stay in a hotel for like 24 hours. You had to take a COVID vaccine test and all that. So I don't believe there's no test you have to take. These requirements are being required really for the airlines to do. So you're not having to do anything particularly for the government, which is a whole nother different process. All right. So it's not as, like I said before, stringent as it is, as it was previously. All right. I want to give a shout out to Dr. H.P. Black, Mr. PhD in the building. He said, peace, bro, BMT. Peace to you as well. Once again, we got 50 in the room. Do me a favor and hit that like button. All right. So let's jump right into it. Let's go ahead and jump right into it, guys. Because I know a lot of guys might be a little, flustered by this new news, but it's not as bad as it might seem in comparisons to what we had to do beforehand. All right. So let's get this right here. All right. Chinese tourism returns, new COVID entry requirements start. All right. So if you've been under the rug, China has just opened up their borders. They'll be able to leave China. You'll be able to enter China as well. And the tourism is going to kick back up. Now, if you don't know, it was a lot of Chinese coming to Thailand, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Indians, a lot of Russians, a lot of Europeans. But I do believe the Chinese made up a pretty good portion of the populace here in Thailand, mainly in most of these, tourist cities like Chiang Mai, Bangkok, and even here in Pattaya. All right. So basically, the Thai government is saying that they're not targeting any nationality, but it seems like that's very interesting that, it's just the timing, right? Soon as trying to open up their borders, they require new COVID entry requirements. Okay. So what they're basically saying is all this is up to the airlines. All right. This is not anything you have to do, particularly for the government. They're asking the airlines to require this from the passengers. All right. So if you are flying into Thailand currently, this is starting on Monday, and this is to January 31st. It is a possibility of it being extended, or it might be something temporary. We don't know right now. But they're saying that they are requiring you to show proof of at least 2 vaccinations. All right. At least 2 vaccinations. So you have to provide that to the airlines, okay, upon entry. All right. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to ask you that when you domestically, like, when you go into the airport, you're in America and you go into the airport, they're going to ask you for it, or you're going to arrive here in Thailand, they're going to ask you for it. I'm not sure. More or less, it's probably going to be in your home country where you're going to be at. They're going to ask you, do you have proof of at least 2 vaccinations? All right. So that's the main thing. That's the main thing. This kind of came pretty quickly. I mean, it was in the news cycle. People were asking a lot of questions. It was kind of cloudy at first. In the WhatsApp groups, they were saying, hey, man, what's going on with this? Should I cancel my trip? I'm not vaccinated. Listen, a lot of people are coming to, I believe, Rolling Loud. I think that's in April, if I'm not mistaken. So we're in January right now. It's a possibility that this still might not be a requirement in April. All right. So I wouldn't cancel any trips now just of yet if you're not vaccinated and you're not coming at least in January. Maybe something might change in February or March or something like that. So I wouldn't cancel my Thailand trip just yet. All right. Somebody said they were number 1 or 2 in tours to Thailand. Okay. That's a good point. So, guys, like I said before, I wouldn't panic as of yet. I don't think it's going to go, my personal opinion, just from, having conversations with other expats. I don't think that it's going to be, I don't think it's like going to be as bad as before. It looks like it's somewhat of a temporary measure, but you never know. It's things change quickly. People thought that this was going to be somewhat of a debate in the parliament, but as you can see, it was pushed through pretty quickly, and it's now a requirement just that quick. And that's the new thing about anything concerning the beer bug, that it gets done pretty quickly. It gets done pretty quickly, and that's in almost every country. All right. So let me see here. Let me see if I can pull this article up now. All right. So basically, what the article is stating, this covers the period of Sunday. Okay, I said Monday. What's actually today? Here, it'll be today, January 8th to Saturday, January 14th. Hold on. That's nothing. That's something else. Okay, so it does start January 9th. Okay, I was mistaken. It does start January 9th. So that's Monday. All right. Now they're saying that they're not sure if this is going to be somewhat of a random thing. They said if they see you coughing or sweating or something, they could possibly pull you out of a line and ask you to take a COVID test. So be aware of that. If you're not feeling well, you might want to delay your flight. So the Thai government officials stated to the press that they wanted the rules to be equal across the board and not discriminate against any particular country while requiring documentation to calm down some Thai residents, basically, about Chinese opening up their borders. So, right as of right now, like I said, if you are coming to Thailand, yeah, some people say that's it for Thailand. Listen, this is, to me, I think this is temporary, guys. I wouldn't go in panic mode just yet. I do believe this might be a temporary measure just because China recently opened up its borders, and it's going to be a new surge of tourists coming in. So I wouldn't go into panic mode just yet. All right. But if you are coming here, you do have to show at least 2 COVID vaccinations. So that's the new news coming to Thailand. This somewhat, I would say, kind of came out the blue because, like I said before, a lot of us thought that we was kind of, done with it. We had kind of moved on. It was a thing of the past. But as you can see, it's not quite over with yet. And this could be, this could maybe be some other countries as well. Things might be kicking it back up. I did see a chart, of, maybe some new cases showing up. I don't know, man. So once again, that's the big news coming out of Thailand right now. If you come in, at least in the month of January, you do need to show proof of at least 2 vaccinations to the airlines. Okay. Somebody said that's it for Thailand travel. Somebody said that's temporary. Okay. Somebody said on Travel, it makes sense because they want the healthy to keep. They want the healthy to keep tourists coming. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Now, I want to break down this article here. Shout out to Bandana Travels. It's been a shout to you, bro. Like I said, I'm not going to be here real long. I got so many messages this morning about the new entry requirements. I just wanted to go ahead and do a show. But I do want to break down this article right here real quick. This is a very interesting article. I know a lot of you guys love Colombia. I love Colombia as well. But I want to break down this article right here that's been kind of being shared in the WhatsApp groups and the private Facebook group. This came out last month. All right. Pretty popular news blog here called Travel the Path. Now, what the article states, and I'm just, like I said, I'm just reading the article, so don't beat me up about, is Colombia dangerous and all that. I'm just giving you the, because a lot of guys love Colombia that, when you tell news about Colombia, some of the incidents and the targeted tourists, they kind of do like a little victim blaming to a certain degree, where they doing this, they doing that, so I don't want to go engage in the back and forth. I'm just reporting the news about Colombia, right, and what's going on in Colombia, particularly Medellin and some of the other major cities in Colombia. All right, so let me go ahead and break down this article. It says Colombia could lose popularity with Americans as crimes against tourists surge. All right, excuse me. Colombia could lose popularity with Americans as crimes against tourists surge. Now, amid multiple reports of crime, including drug facilitated assaults and murders, Colombia could lose its prestige as one of the go-to destinations in South America for U.S. travelers. This year, a record number of tourists have been affected, with as many as 25 losing their lives. In my opinion, I think it's much more than 25, in my opinion. But they're saying 25 travelers lost their lives vacationing the country following the violence surge. All right. Get this out the way. Where are you in the way? Hold on. Let me give me a second. So it says Americans should reconsider all travel to Colombia. All right. They're saying that regrettably, it seems to be backsliding recently as a threat of serious physical harm increases across densely populated urban areas. All right. So guys, be aware. Somebody said blame Medi. The one hole says Colombia authorities should have been put on halt on the crimes. Americans should stop going honestly. The crime is why I scratched Colombia off the list. It's another comment by SMK. The one says Mexico and Central America don't have the problem here. It is peaceful. You know, I had a big, not a big, but a little bit of a conversation yesterday of a guy who lived in Colombia for 3 years. He was saying that it's not really that dangerous. I told him I kind of beg to differ. I think that guys, you know, tourists, you know, or gringos as they per se, to a certain degree, we don't understand how insulated that we really are. And we don't understand that in some cases, when certain areas, the prices of living have, risen because of Americans, expanding there, moving there, that might cause some type of, anger by some of the locals that grew up in that particular area. That's number one. Number two, as you can see in this article, there is a network of criminals that do target foreigners, whether they like to admit it or not. And maybe you was one of the, people that, got lucky or whatnot. It's hundreds of thousands of tourists that go into Colombia, don't have any incidents. I lived there for an entire year. I didn't have any incidents whatsoever. Well, besides one, maybe the incident. But you can't deny the facts are the facts, and I think what happens is, guys, I love Colombia. A lot of people love Colombia. I think Medellin is one of the best cities in the world, hands down. But you don't want to disinform people because you in somewhat of an insulated environment to a certain degree. You know what I'm saying? Or you're moving differently. You really don't know what all is going around with your surroundings, even if you've been there for a while. It's one of them situations where you say, well, I haven't had any issues, but the other American, the drug, rob, kidnap, all that good stuff, right? So it's one of them little situations like, oh, I didn't have no issues. Colombia's dope. And it is dope, but you got to be very aware of your surroundings. And in some cases, let me, give credit. Yes, in certain cities, Colombia is safer. Like in comparisons to some American cities, you do have some cities in Colombia that are generally safer than cities like Atlanta or Miami or, Chicago or something like that, Yes, that's definitely true. But the major difference that you got to understand, guys, is the fact that in America, you're not targeted to a certain degree. You don't stand out. You just blend in with everybody else. Versus, you in these foreign countries, you do stand out, whether you want to admit to it or not. Your swag is different. You walk different. You dress different. Even if you speak Spanish fluently, your accent is different. That people pick up on these things. Some people get targeted as soon as they leave the airport or in the airport. It's a network that you have to be aware of, right? And it's a lucrative network that goes all the way up until certain officials, all right? And you just must be aware. I'm not saying don't go to Colombia, but I'm just reporting the news. In my opinion, like I said, I'll be returning to Colombia sometime this year. But I just want guys to be very aware, all right? So like the article states, this is coming from, I believe, the U.S. Department. It's saying that Americans should be careful and reconsider all travel to Colombia. Okay? It says, according to the U.S. government, Americans should now reconsider travel to Colombia due to crime and terrorism. Okay? Unlike most states in Mexico that's currently falling within the acceptable level 2 category, the Department of State has included Colombia in level 3, which means safety is compromised, particularly in some high-risk areas. Now, this is the American government saying this, all right? So whether your opinion is, hey, man, it's safe, I go out every day, this is just a general warning from the American government that you might want to pay attention to. All right, now, if you've been living out there for a while, you're a Colombian vet, you probably don't have any issues. You got your, you got your routine, you go to the gym, you go to the mall, you might be in a relationship, so you don't have to date as much. You don't have to be out there as much. You go to the restaurant, to the bars every now and then. You should be genuinely, in my opinion, good. All right. But if you a guy that's just recently started traveling, or, you might not have that much experience, you might go down there every now and then, or it's maybe your first time. This is probably something you want to pay attention to because you don't have your set circle yet. Colombia is all about moving within your circle of people that you already know for the most part. you know, your friends, your Colombian friends, your girlfriend, her family. You know, you're moving within a circle, so you don't have to interact with too many new people to a certain degree. When you just getting down there, you don't know anybody. You know, you gotta get to know people. You gotta network, and that can be a little sketchy at times. Meeting new people, especially in these high, dense, you know, tourist areas. All right. So U.S. authorities have been known to been cautious in issuing travel warnings, especially in tourist hotspots. So I believe that's let's see. Now, this is specifically about Medellin, this portion of the article. It says once Medellin, the Antioquia department was named one of the world's most violent, all right, in Latin America. Since according to the professor, I think that's Bustamante, weapons and people willing to use them continue existing in ready supply. Let me read that again. Weapons and people willing to use them continue existing in ready supply, contributing to the negative indicators of crime that persist in Medellin. All right. In spite of the profound transformations Colombia underwent the last 2 decades, Bogota, the capital, is also mentioned as one of the top 3 in riskiest of crime. Okay, so it's basically saying that, you know, keep in mind, guys, this is post the pandemic, so things has gotten a little rougher. Maybe they improve and get better, but once again, I'm just relaying the news to you about what's going on. All right, let's break this down. So, string of tourist murders in Colombia are a pressing concern. Right. Somebody said Medellin is the blame for 9% of that crime. Maybe. So once again, string of tourist murders in Colombia are a pressing concern. Let's get that right here. And they just basically this article states about, you know, the guy that unfortunately was killed in Medellin, Paul Nugent. I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. I believe he was from where was he from? Vietnam. Who was murdered down there. He was one of the 25. I still think it's a little bit more than 25 in my opinion. But, you know, once again, you just got to be careful, man. You just got to be careful and be aware. Since there have been multiple reports of scopolamine, a drug mostly commonly known as the devil's breath, being weaponized by individuals with malicious intent in order to force the victims into basically a lethargic state and ultimately to rob them. All right. So just like I said, this is a quick show, man. I just wanted guys to be aware, give you guys an update. I think Colombia and Medellin in particular is one of the dopest cities in the world. You just got to move in a certain way and understand that it's certain networks that, you know, run within that areas and these tourist areas that do target you. And, you know, to victim blame and say this guy was slipping, they do dumb stuff and they do stupid this and they do dumb stuff. Bro, listen. When you're new in a new country, we all do dumb things. All right. Just because you've been out there for a while, that doesn't, because I know guys that actually been living out there for over a decade and got drugged and robbed. All right. So you're not from there. You're going to be a gringo, regardless of how well you speak Spanish. Okay. In certain cases, they know that you have access to a lot of money. American money is that. You know, I've heard all types. I heard a whole types of stories when I was living out there that were kind of like, wow, they take it to a whole nother level. You know, they drug you, they go into your bank account, they take crypto, all types of stuff, because to certain individuals, it's like a job for them. And when you do a job, you do something persistently over and over again, you get better and you figure out how you can reap more and more benefits from, you know, the foreigners, basically. So once again, like I said before, just be careful, just be mindful. If you do decide to go out there, try your best to link up with somebody that's already living out there and just move accordingly. You know, like I said, once again, I'm just reporting the news. All right. So, all right, guys, that's a quick show for the day. Got 121 people in the room. We got a lot of videos coming up. We got some travel vlogs. I know you guys want to see travel vlogs. Remember, excuse me, The live streams will be on the second channel, the Passport Bro live channel. We will continue most of the live streams over there. I just want to give you guys a quick news updates because I got so many messages of guys wanting to cancel their trips because of the new entry requirements to Thailand. I just want to give you guys a quick update. All right. Peace.